Okay. So I was thinking of a good way to start the podcast, which if you don't know, that is what you're listening to right now. If you don't know what a podcast is, it's kind of like radio on the internet. So I hope that you enjoy it. But we're here, we're sitting in chairs, we have microphones, and I thought a good jumping off point, a good way to start the episode, you know, when you make a podcast with somebody, Michael, when you create something as a podcast, it's a serious commitment, you know what I mean? It's no joke, and you know, it's episode 22 right now, and I realize that there's a few things that you and I still don't know about each other. So don't get scared. We're not going to get anything, you know, too revealing here. But I was just wondering, man, what was the scariest thing or some of the scariest experiences that you've ever had when you were like legitimately frightened?
Ooh. I love how you never give me time to prep for these. I'm going to say, I don't know, for some reason, and this is more of like a non-conscious memory. This sounds weird. But yeah, it was a dream, I think. Like I had this one dream I remember having as a young kid that really terrified me. And for some reason, I still remember today. I was in my bedroom. I was probably like 8 years old. And it started off okay. It was kind of weird. Took my pillow off the bed, and there was like breakfast, and so that was nice. But then I started hearing like banging on my door, but not my front door, my closet door. And so the door opened, and it was like the skeleton, and it started walking towards me like in a slow way. Like if it walked like normally or fast, it probably wouldn't be as bad, but because it was slow, you know, it was like, geez, I have a lot of time to get away, but I don't, because the front door was locked.
That's scary, bud.
And as he came in, bam, dream over. Yeah, it was terrifying, man. It's terrifying.
Did you like deny any witches like a mortgage or something? Like, was there something like that, or maybe you like stole from one or something like that? I don't know why you would do
like in real life.
Yeah, in real life.
Oh man.
Yeah. It's usually if you have a weird dream, you know, it's because you like screwed over a witch, and then she's like, "Oh, I'll get you," you know.
Jeez, I must have pissed off a lot of witches then, man. I must have done something. Maybe all of my content ever is just offensive to witches. Yeah.
Mostly I'm just thinking about that movie, Drag Me to Hell. You ever see that movie?
Oh. No, I'm thinking of Follow Me or something.
I like how you were excited about it, though, even though you weren't sure.
No. You did remind me of a good one, but it wasn't the right one.
Okay, well, both of those are good movies, so... check them out if you're listening out there. Check out those movies.
What about you?
Oh man, we don't even have time to get into it. I can only loop though. You'll have to save it for a future episode.
What?
We'll talk about it later. I can't loop it 6 times, Michael. We have to get into the song.
Okay.
I'm slowly becoming the villain of the podcast.
What are your deepest fears? Okay, I'm not going to reveal mine. All right.
Well, I was going to share a real experience, but I'm glad that yours was like psychological. Okay, so here we go. I've got a song for everybody here. I don't know if Michael's got his lighters ready or not, but it's okay if he doesn't. Door is closed?
Door is closed.
Okay, well, as long as the door is closed, you know? All right, even if it's not good, Michael's going to back me up here. Here we go. Woo! Take me down to PHOTOBROS City where the lighting is right and the jokes are witty. Oh, won't you please take me home? Yeah. Good enough.
Yes. That is our philosophy. Good enough.
What do we want? Good enough. When do we want it?
Whenever.
On a pretty much weekly release.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, that was a not great version of Paradise City. We'll work on it. The classic by Guns and Roses. We've got a gun and a rose on the podcast today. I'm not sure which is which. I'll let Michael pick, and I'll take the other one. But I am your photographer, Jared Poirier, and over there on the other end of this Zoom call is a wonderful friend of mine and a brilliant creative.
Ooh. Michael. My name is Michael. How you doing? And I'm going to say roses. We have roses on the podcast today.
He's going to take the well, we got one of each. So if you're the rose, then I'm the gun of the podcast.
Well, I feel underprepared then. If you have a gun and I have a rose, then...
Oh, well, you can
goodness.
still charm. You can charm with the rose, or you can threaten with the gun, right? So,
right.
Got
you.
Either way could work out. And since I'm from Timmins, I'm going to just go out on a limb here and say that I've shot more guns than Michael Costa.
Yeah, fair to say.
Because I've shot like 4 guns, maybe, so probably more than Michael Costa. But
yeah, I haven't shot a single gun. So
yeah, but
right.
only ever at like pizza boxes or whatever. But we're not here to talk about shooting guns at pizza boxes. We are here to talk about what, Michael?
Photography.
Oh, oh, thank God.
What do you think I was gonna say?
I don't know. I was worried.
My
preparation was highly photography related. So we're talking about photography today on the show, and specifically our photography bucket lists, right? So definitely a topic. When Michael Costa brought it to me, Michael Costa always brings brilliant topics to the podcast, and he did not disappoint this week with this topic. And one of the easiest ones to prep for as well. I had quite a few things rolling around in my head, especially as we've done these episodes recently, right? And even as we've started to have more guests on the show, which is a trend that I really love, we'll probably continue to do a little bit more of that type of thing. Just definitely one that I think is going to be a fun one in the historical podcast records of the photography brothers. So how do you think we should do this, man? Kind of back and forth, like
back and forth, man.
Good old game of football, tennis, whatever other sport, hockey, I guess, where you pass. What's a sport where you don't pass? Boxing?
You pass your hand through someone's face.
I guess so. Not really the type of pass that I want to receive, so that's why I stick to the more team-based, not punch-based sports.
Fair. Okay.
Anyway, man, do you want to go first?
Sure, man. So I'll start with one that's probably been on this list for a while. Clearly, I think everyone can agree that there's, probably a bunch of items on their list there as far as their photography bucket list. But today we're going to try limiting it to 3. So my first one is going to be Tokyo street photography.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So one of my favorite movies, actually probably would say it is my favorite movie, is Lost in Translation. And it's been that way for a long time. And I think one thing I always loved about that movie was just how prominent Tokyo was in it. It was almost its own character within that film, and so really fell in love with it in that kind of culture, and following obviously quite a few of the photographers that exist within that street photography scene, and it's just awesome to see that stuff. So I'd love to go down and shoot some street photography in Tokyo.
Yeah, there's a reason why so many movies are set there. Obviously, you have the Fast and Furious, Tokyo Drift, tons of Godzilla movies. I'm sure there's lots of gangster films and whatnot that I haven't really gotten into, but lots of interesting things. Beautifully lit city, and where all cameras come from.
Yes. Yeah.
You're in the land of cameras. You're in the land of cameras. So
this is true. Yeah.
You know that you're among friends. I love that one, man. Maybe you'll take me with you. We can do that one together. Maybe that's what me and Michael are putting together here. We're going to start up a Patreon. You guys are going to donate, and we'll go vlog it up, and we'll do this bucket list, and we'll make it real. I'm planning on making these real, man. I don't know about you.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
With or without Patreon, we're gonna find a way.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Even if we have to have Patreon as a guest on the podcast, we'll bring them on here. and say, look, Patreon, we want to go to Japan. Let's make it happen. Here we go. Okay, so I've got my first, and probably we should have explained what a bucket list means. I figured
bucket list is a list of things you really want to do. And so we're just talking about specifically around photography.
Why is it called a bucket list, though?
It's called a bucket list because it's the things you want to do before you kick the bucket.
Which means?
Meaning death.
But why is it called kicking the bucket?
Is it like something to do with hanging? I don't want to get into it, man. I actually don't know. I thought you knew.
That's a decent answer. No, I have no idea, but that one actually makes a lot of sense. So we're gonna go with that.
Okay. Yeah. I'm glad we were able to squeeze in some dark. We always find a way. And speaking of dark subject matter, one of the things that I would love to do before I kick the proverbial bucket and leave this earth to go hopefully shoot some good photos in the afterlife. But I would love to shoot concert photography, specifically like a huge metal show. Because for those of you who don't know, I'm a big fan of metal. I like my classic metal bands. I'm into some like modern metal as well. Your Meshuggah, your classic Opeth. Give you guys a little bit of a track list here. Gojira, you gotta check those guys out. Check out that type of metal. But your classics, your classic big bands that everybody in the metal scene really appreciates. Your Iron Maidens, your Metallicas, something like that would be a huge metal show to do. But yeah, that would be awesome, man. Just the scale of it, right? Like the fact that these bands like have so many fans all around the world and would come together, especially when all of this like BS is over here and things, and we're all vaccinated and hopefully we can go to concerts again. And yeah, one of those like big, top build shows would be cool. But I would settle for a smaller show. Your Ghost, your Mastodon, something like that would also be fun. So you guys are gonna get a good list of things to check out when you listen to today's episode of the podcast. I highly recommend all of those bands that I just said. Me and Michael, those are our favorite bands. So our favorite band. That's awesome, man. Yeah, man. Dude, that's like obviously I think I have a friend who kind of gets to go and shoot, obviously not now, but got to do a lot of that stuff. So one thing is definitely hold on to that camera, baby it times 5.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? Things get really crazy, especially if you're going to some really intense metal concerts. There's gonna be mosh pits and stuff like that. Great for photography, a lot of character, a lot of stuff to capture. A lot of movement, but with that also comes maybe a bit more aggression and
for sure,
got to protect that camera.
Especially in the metal scene, right? You're gonna want to strap that. I've got a nice Peak Design strap that puts the camera. Just it can't really come out of your hands. I would recommend something a bit durable. But, and probably you're going to want to shoot with like a really long lens as well so that you can see everything. But that you have all of the beautiful lighting is already there. A lot of the work is done for you. The scene is basically set and you've got your long lens. I don't know, longer the better, I guess. 2000
probably,
2000 millimeter lens.
2000 f1.8. That's got to be somewhere. Yeah,
that's got to be
maybe
cheap.
$1 million.
That's got to
yeah.
You're gonna want that.
That's awesome. Dude.
Maybe something a little bit waterproof. But in my experience as well, though, with metal shows, right, it's always like people think it's like super intense and dangerous, which it is. But also metalheads are some of the nicest people. And if you get like when I've been knocked down in the pit, people pull you back up. When I've lost my glasses, people are like, oh, this guy lost his glasses. So, I'm familiar with that type of scene. I might be able to handle that type of chaos better than some people out there now that I think about it, because I handle the chaos of this podcast. So
you do. And I thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So on to my second one now. Let's move it over. Let's move it along here. But I do have a question related to concerts for after.
Okay, we'll save that.
So on a similar fashion, kind of like something I'd love to be hired to do. This is something that's kind of top of that specific list as far as like client work. I would love to shoot some sort of holiday ad for Coca-Cola. And I know a lot of that is video, but there are photo elements to that, and I'd love to just be part of that project. Obviously, a lot of people have a lot of nostalgia tied back to Coca-Cola and Christmas and the holidays, and so I'm one of those people. And I think it'd just be, for me, one of the most rewarding gigs to have, is to be able to be part of creating future nostalgia with photography. I think it'd be cool.
Interesting. Yeah, those types of gigs I've never really been like as interested for, like those like really corporate gigs. But it would be a lot of money, and a lot of power and influence comes along with it as well. So I could definitely see that. You'd have a lot of resources as well if you were shooting that type of thing, right? So
yeah, and I hear you. Like
cool.
it's definitely like maybe there'd be a big paycheck and stuff like that. I'm not even like literally thinking about that. I'm thinking about like how cool it would be, like for myself as like a milestone, and as again, tying it back to personal nostalgia, being able to capture something that will be used for the holidays for Coca-Cola is something that for me would be like really, really awesome. Not from like a working with the big brand or whatever, but just personally.
Well, what if you get approached by, is this like purely a Coca-Cola fascination? Like what if like Dr. Pepper,
man.
What if like Mountain Dew calls you up and it's like, yo, Michael, this is Mountain Dew. We're gonna like we're sending you a check. We're sending you a skid of Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
So let's say like 10,000 cans of Mountain Dew is on the way, and 10,000 euro is on the way as well.
Yeah.
So you're gonna make
cool.
it, or are you holding out? Are you gonna tell Mountain Dew, you're gonna listen, Mr. Dew? All right, I'm not coming in today. I'm holding out for Pepsi. I mean Coca-Cola. Click.
So is Mountain Dew a Pepsi company?
I think
no
it
idea,
is,
actually.
Right? I think Dr. Pepper is independent, so let's use Dr. Pepper for the sake of that.
Dr. Pepper. Yeah, Dr. Pepper. I mean, I love Dr. Pepper, so it'd be cool to work with them. I think I'd do it just so that way I have like a relatable experience. But on a tie to what we were just talking about, Pepsi shooting something soccer related, that would be sick too. Just
nice.
Those cool soccer ads. Yeah,
could be fun, man. Yeah.
What do you got, man? What do you got?
Sports action. Okay, I got one for you. I'm just enjoying the podcast so much. I'm not trying to rush through it. I'm just savoring it the way our listeners savor the podcast. That's why we get these huge numbers. Unbelievable. So another thing on my bucket list that I would want to do is Chris really got me, our guest on the last episode, Chris Chan, good friend of mine, excellent fashion, cosplay, whatever you want to call it, photographer. I actually ended up getting the chance to ask him right here on the show, like what would be something, kind of a similar question that we're answering here, right? Like what's something that you want to do in your future as a photographer, and he mentioned the world of set photography for film, and that really got me thinking. I've done this before for my friend Peter Hatch. Shout out to Peter Hatch. Shout out to Deform Lunchbox. If I remember, I'll link it. Great channel, great horror shorts, and I'll probably remember to put up some pictures as well, hopefully, of me shooting on set here. But very fun, very incredible experience, and to do something a little bit larger scale, specifically on a horror movie. I do love my horror movies. So I would love to be on set for that. I kind of originally thought like a real artsy horror movie, like the kind of, because I really like my weird, like psychological artsy horror. So one of my favorite filmmakers in that respect is Ari Aster, who made Midsummer and one of the scariest movies I've ever seen in my life, Hereditary. Scary. But yeah, I mean, that's like very like keep you up at night, and like you'll be thinking about it for like the rest of your life and be scared in your soul. Like, so maybe not maybe I don't want to be on set for those types of horrors. But something I really was like brainstorming about it, and came up with a couple of potential filmmakers that I would love to work for. Number one, like obviously, if I could work for Guillermo del Toro, doing some set photography with the costumes and the lighting and everything in his film, and just being on set and shooting some photos of that stuff. Like in you've seen Pan's Labyrinth, bro? Have you seen Pan's Labyrinth?
I've seen stills, man. Like ironically, but
have you watched? You've never seen it?
No.
Oh,
My horror movie backlog is pretty large. Yeah.
Well, bump that one up to the top of the list, man, because that is a cinematic achievement. Freddy versus Jason or something would be fun as well, right? Something where there's just like ridiculous characters. Yeah, anything like that would be pretty good. Where there's good costumes, good characters, would be a lot of fun. And similar to kind of show photography or concert photography, again, a situation where you just show up as a photographer, you're not hanging lights. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that kind of stuff is done, and I do enjoy that type of workflow as well. So yeah, would you do something like that?
I'd love that, man. I think that sounds like a lot of fun. Obviously, we're both big fans of film. I think we both probably revolve around some different genres, but we do both love it. And so I think that'd be cool, at least to do once. But
Sure.
it does sound like a lot of fun. And you're kind of touching on some good points there, where it's like, something where there's some interesting detail and characters, and even being able to get behind the scenes, and if it was like a Freddy, and they're applying the makeup, and to get some really cool shots of that happening and being applied to the actor's face. And I think there's so much that you can kind of capture and make something really cool. So that's love, man. I love that. That's love. I love that is what I meant to say.
That's love. It can be love too, man.
That's love, man.
We can bring love through your earbuds. That's what we're gonna call
love through the earbuds.
Our next podcast, our ASMR. Once we do our ASMR
sounds
podcast.
good. I'll let you stick handle that one. So that's awesome, dude. So you'll definitely need to give me some horror film recommendations after this podcast, because I'm a little behind. But
sure.
Definitely, dude. On to my third and last, not overall on my list, but for this show.
We only got time. We only got time for three.
You only got time for three. It's all right. We could be here all day, I think. But I'm gonna say this one's a bit more local, a bit more specific. So, it's gonna be a little harder for people to imagine. But I'll try to source some images so we can send it across.
Sure.
I grew up in Mississauga. It's possible that you guys have heard of Mississauga, especially if you're local. If you're outside of Ontario or the country, then you might not have heard of it, and that's totally understandable. We are Toronto's little brother, and I grew up there, and so I have a lot of nostalgia tied back to that city. And so there is a clock tower that is in City Hall. And there used to be a restaurant there. It's been shut down. But I've seen images from inside of it, and it just gives me this Doctor Strange inside the clock tower, or like Batman, or really cool gears and the hands, and
wow, man.
It's really cool. And I've tried so many times. I've contacted different levels of government, within Mississauga City Hall or whatever, and I can't get it going, but still trying.
What if you just go and do it? What if you just get in there?
No way. There's no way. I have to go through City Hall, go up the stairs, and then somehow unlock a door. You know what I mean? And then it's
well,
like,
how
did you get it? If you got
someone dressed like Batman, it's probably easier than you think, dude. I got a Batman costume. Let's go.
Yeah. I don't think he'll make it. Past the front door. I think it will actually not help us at all. I think it won't make it as far.
Do you have a black whip?
Again, I don't think walking in with a whip is going to help us.
No, I'm saying I meant a car, like a Batmobile.
Oh, a car.
Yeah,
actually,
like Ghost Ride the whip.
I have a black car.
Okay.
A black car.
Do you actually do?
So, Yeah,
Okay,
you
we
were
should
in
do
it
this, dude.
once.
Add this.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll add that to the bucket list. We're gonna take down Mississauga City Hall, and we're gonna get up in there and do our photo shoot, bro.
That'd be actually awesome. Actually, it's funny you say that because the last element I wanted to touch on here really quickly was that I have a project that unfortunately haven't been able to continue for a little while. It's called In My Head. And specifically, that is what I wanted to continue there as a location and as a set for a character that is heavily modeled after Father Time. And so obviously it would work out really well. But yeah, that's the last thing I wanted to throw in there, was to be able to kind of continue that creative expression and to continue that project, which I really, really love. But yeah, again, we have to get access, and maybe it turns into a Batman time traveling Batman. Maybe we can make it that. But if you want to be part of it as Batman,
Batman has traveled in time a bunch of times.
Has he actually?
So, yeah, there's the whole, because like the Flash, being like super fast, he can like do time travel or whatever. So
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. He like can go into the quantum realm and like fight against the reverse Flash and then make him reverse time or whatever. I don't know how it all goes down. We'll ask somebody who knows more than me. I don't know.
We'll have to have Flash on the show.
We'll have Flash on the show.
Yeah.
And we'll ask him about it. Him and Batman together. Future guests of the pod. Yeah, that's a good one though, dude. I got another one for everybody here. My last one on the bucket list. Another one based off of one of the guests that we had on the show, actually. So, we had Kashif on the show. A friend of mine lives out in Jamaica, does some really amazing photography work, which hopefully I'll remember to put up a little bit as I'm talking about it right here. But I would love to go and do the type of thing that he does. And maybe by the time, that things open up a little bit, I've been down to Cuba before. It's not too far from Jamaica. Maybe we can put together a little island tour, go down there. Maybe we'll stop at the Dominican Republic, go to a couple spots in Jamaica. And meet up with Kashif and hang out, man. That would be one for my bucket list. It would cost a little bit of money. Maybe we have a client that's paying for it for some reason. If anybody out there is like a swimsuit company, hit us up, I guess.
Or a resort.
Or a resort. Or you make boats. Maybe you make boats. Maybe you make sunglasses.
Boats,
Maybe there's a lot of industries that could be hitting us up here. So so that's pretty much that. I have a bonus one here as well, which would be learn VFX at some point. Not super related to photography, but definitely on the bucket list. I keep making excuses. You don't actually really need that good a computer anymore to do it. You can kind of figure it out. So I need to get on that one. So that's my bonus one. But mainly meeting up with Kashif and going down and experience like the Jamaican culture and stuff like that would be awesome, man.
Oh, that'd be awesome, man. Yeah, it is a little bit pricier if you are paying to go down there, unfortunately. But actually, I was talking to my girlfriend recently about how like that's got to be a place we go. Like for photography, for relaxation, whatever. Like Jamaica it's a spot.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are at the news segment for today. Now, our buddy Jared has selected a fantastic news story for us today, and it's going to be an interesting one. I'm excited to see where we take this conversation. But we're talking about liquid lenses. Liquid lenses. What are we talking? Liquid lenses. What are we saying here? Liquid lenses, man. But I mean, I don't know if Jared, if you want me to give a little bit of intel here before we kick it off to you, or do you want to take it?
Sure, man. What's the article that we're featuring today? You got the title and whatnot over there?
I do. I sure do, Jared. I'm glad you asked. It is Are Liquid Lenses the Future of Photography? This is written by Brad Wenz, or Wendy's or
I'm
Wendy's.
gonna I'm gonna go with Wendy's.
Wendy's. Well,
Yes.
then that immediately makes me like them a little bit less.
Well,
and
the sweet and sour sauce there is really good. We're gonna talk about it later, but
I'm glad that the burger joint has good sweet and sour sauce.
they have good burgers too, and good bacon. Anyways, go on.
Oh yeah, so yeah, they have weird square burgers. But F Stoppers is the place where you'll find Wendy's or Wen's or Wendes article. And yeah, we're talking about a smartphone that isn't available in the United States of America, but this
Or Canada for that matter.
or Canada or North America. It is not here, but it is over in Asia, and hopefully we can find this stuff over here soon enough so that we can start playing around with it. But why don't you tell them a little bit about what's going on with I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name of the manufacturer. You go for it. You got this.
Okay, this one's for me. I'm pretty sure it's like Xiaomi. That's
that is a really good guess.
Pretty good, right?
That is like solid. Nice. Nice.
You're like
I'm impressed.
That is 7,000% better than I thought you were gonna do.
100%.
It is a amazing phone by that company that I just said called the Mi Mix Fold. So this is a foldable smartphone, and as Michael said, this is the first phone on the market anywhere that I know of, or that Michael knows of, or probably anybody knows of, to utilize this liquid lens technology on an actual smartphone here. And they've got the ability to basically change the focal length of the lens by kind of manipulating a area of like, okay, this is the part that kind of confused me a little bit. The part that I do understand, it's an 8 megapixel camera. So let's get that out of the way. That part I get. It has the ability to change between being a telephoto lens, like a 50 millimeter, and also being a macro lens. Okay, so something interesting to think about here. Right now, we're only able to do 2 different types of focal lengths. The way this is achieved, as far as I understand, it's like water and oil. The way that those things interact can like change your effective focal length of your lens. Like I don't fully understand it. I don't think we're going to cover probably like 3 different YouTube videos / articles today. I don't think any of these people understand it. There's like a very limited amount of people who get it. But what they are able to do with this phone, apparently, is create a situation where you have a bionic camera that can easily change between a telephoto and a macro lens by changing focal length, like I said. What it can't do yet is change also into a wide lens, right? So that would be like, your 17 millimeters or whatever, right? Whereas the normal telephoto would be like a 50 millimeter. The phone company, in kind of a hilarious like surrender here, they just like have another lens that does wide. So underneath their bionic liquid lens, they have like just another lens there. But but the whole thing here is just like, I think everybody agrees that things are getting a little bit out of hand with phones. Trying to have different focal lengths, and the way that they achieve that is just by like putting more and more lenses on there. I'm gonna throw up a picture of the Light L16. I'll send this to Michael as well. He'll have a good laugh. Just a phone with a lot of cameras. Probably too many cameras on that phone. This is kind of an issue. I would say is like something that we have to kind of get past in technology. This is a problem on smartphones with the fact that you have so many lenses on there, but it's also, depending on how you look at it, a potential problem for photographers. And this is kind of the implications of this further. Like, imagine just having your camera and not having to buy a bunch of lenses because you've got this like liquid lens that is basic. You buy maybe one lens and it's every lens or something like that. So pretty interesting to think about. One more term here that I'm going to throw out. Electro wetting. That's the process that they use there. So I guess it's similar to what Michael talked about before when you're shooting underwater photography and you like spit on your hand grossly and rub that on your lens. I guess that's kind of like doing a little bit of the old school way, not electro wetting, but just human assisted wetting, I suppose. Yeah,
it's really cool technology, though. Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else that I missed there, or in terms of the specs, in terms of the technology?
Yeah, I mean, you touched on most of it. I think another element of it is, of course, like Jared mentioned, you're going to be able to change that focal length. Also, be able to adjust that focus all by modifying. Through electronics. There are actually no mechanics tied back to it, just reading through the article, so I'm not too sure how that works, but it's gonna be interesting. Yeah, I mean, one lens down the line, I mean, it's gonna be really cool to see if this makes itself down, if this is something that becomes an industry standard 5 years from now, 10 years from now, but to be able to have a liquid, almost, it was interesting seeing the ad. It almost looked like an eyedropper. They just dropped it in, and then have it like kind of flux and move around a bit, and then be able to adjust that focus, adjust that focal length. That is an incredibly dynamic technology. I'd be a little bit concerned about, obviously sometimes we get these phones, we keep them for a long time. Is there some sort of, I don't know if wear is the right word, but that is tied back to this?
The durability is for sure a question.
Right. What if you crack your phone? Is your lens going to leak out? It's going to be
I'm looking at
thing there.
Literally reading the notes for this podcast off of a phone that I've broken twice. I've broken the screen first from one side, and then I recently was playing basketball, and then I broke it on the other side. Don't ask me why I had my phone in my shorts while I was playing basketball. Just not a smart play. But yeah, that was definitely my concern. I actually wrote in my notes here on my broken phone, Michael. Yeah. Will I break it? I actually haven't broken on my phone here. Neither crack is through the actual camera, which is nice. And on the same thing on the back here, I haven't cracked the back one. On my old phone, I cracked right through the camera, which did make for an interesting effect. But yeah, definitely
nice, soft and
no, it was just, it put like cool light like prisms and shit on your photos. It was great. Anyways,
but it's a really cool technology, man. Excited to see how this stuff goes. Hopefully we can get something like this in our hands soon enough so we can try it out and see how that works. But really cool. They've also said that there's no compromise in image quality, but I think everyone's going to say that when they come out with a new piece of tech. Right?
Sure. So, I don't necessarily believe them, but we'll see.
Yeah. We'll see. Yeah. But yeah, man, cool to see it. And hopefully we can try it out soon.
Do you think it's the future of cell phones, smartphone photography?
It might be, right? Because I think from a business perspective, it might be more interesting for businesses to just invest in having one stock lens, and then you can find a way to purchase other lenses that you can mount and have it basically an interchangeable lens system on your phone. I think from a business perspective that would make sense, maybe on pro models and stuff like that. But I think from a consumer value perspective, I think this would be incredible. And not having these massive bevels on the back of your phone that are have 3, 4 fucking, who knows, sorry language, 10 cameras. I don't know how many lenses we can add more to these phones, man. They're gonna get crazy. So man, I don't know, we'll see how it goes.
And what about
we just gotta see how.
What about with cameras on that side? Is this going to be the future of cameras?
It'd be interesting. It'd be interesting. The hard part there, though, right? Like we're talking about, like, are we going to be at a point where you buy, something that's maybe thin and it has this, liquid solution within it, and you mount it, and then how will the electronics within the camera be able to interact with that? Like it definitely has to be, cameras that have been developed specifically for that mount system and those lenses. I think there's a lot of behind the scenes that has to happen, but
for sure,
it'd be
for sure.
Cool. Yeah,
I
make it lighter.
Just from a business perspective, like knowing what I know about the camera companies, and there's only really like 3 of them.
Yeah.
So it's pretty. In that way, it's a small market that you can kind of study and understand. And I just don't see them doing it, because then they're kind of screwing themselves over in a way, right? I mean, they're already marketing these interchangeable systems. They've been doing that for a long time. Also, you know what I mean? Like if they can sell you on their body system every time that because of the way that mounts work, and we can get into adapters and blah, blah, blah. But essentially, like once you're in that system, you're buying their lenses, right? Like I've got a Canon camera right now, and I've got my, Canon lens on there, and I just don't see, those, at least the big 3, Canon, Nikon, Sony. I don't see them trying out anything like this. If it does come up, maybe as like a Kickstarter or something like that, I could see that. And that's why I'm so excited to announce our new PHOTOBROS liquid camera. Not only is the lens liquid, the entire camera is liquid. Okay? So you know what that means. I don't, but we're going to figure it out.
We'll figure it out. The only thing I can see actually from a business perspective this working is if they find a way to bake in some electronics that can speak to the technology that we already have within cameras, and then you can advertise it and say this is lighter. You know what I mean? This is a lighter technology. And also again, speaking to the business side, hey, the image quality starts to go away after 4 or 5 years, right? So it's like a compromise of like, hey, you have a lighter and versatile tool, but guess what? You can't have this lens for 20 years. After 5 years, you have to buy a new one.
Yeah. Could be an angle. I could see them maybe coming out with like a liquid lens that goes on to like an existing body or something. Maybe that's how we'll see this implemented. But regardless, interesting to think about. Interesting that people are trying to solve these problems, even if like, maybe someone like you and I don't really perceive it as a problem. We're just we're just happy to follow these camera companies around like a sad dog and just take whatever scraps they want to throw at us. But I'm glad that there's some people out there who are being like, why are you going to have a bunch of different lenses? Photographers will just get in an argument about which lenses to buy.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
we're limited in our thinking in that way. So it's good that these companies are really pushing things, and seems to be the innovation is coming from those spaces, the kind of Chinese and Japanese market. So we'll make sure that we both learn Chinese, and we'll be able to keep you guys, especially Michael. So that's going to be his assignment for next week's podcast is learn
I'm on it.
Mandarin. So he'll be doing that. So look forward to that. If you want to see Michael do things that aren't speaking Mandarin, he's got or talking about photography for that matter, you can go and find Michael Costa over on this very same platform that you might be watching this podcast on, which is Michael Costa Music over on YouTube. If you're listening to this podcast on Spotify, guess what? Michael Costa Music is still on YouTube. It doesn't actually make a difference. So
and if you might not find any Chinese or Japanese on there, but you might find some Korean.
Do you speak any Korean on the?
That
would be pretty cool. Maybe if you
K-pop,
if you introduced a segment like that, right?
Maybe I should learn a little
My
bit.
name is Michael Costa,
Yeah.
just for the thing, you know. There's ideas.
Yeah.
Another great source of content. If you are listening to this podcast on Spotify, right there in your Spotify app, you can find the Masha and the Dogs podcast, which is a great podcast by my fiance Masha, and she talks about historical dogs on there, all of the greatest dogs in history. I recommended that she should cover the Taco Bell dog, because I think that would be, you remember that, Michael? Yo quiero Taco Bell, that dog, and then, yeah.
Do you remember the Fido dog? That'd be another one.
Oh! I was trying to think of more dogs. The Fido dog, that's a good dog.
There you go.
See, I wonder. I'll research it. Hopefully, it's one, because sometimes you find out that there was actually like 10 dogs. You know what I mean?
That's right. Yeah.
This dog is like a lot of dogs. But anyways, you can check those things out. There's also some people, before we get out of here, that we need to thank. Michael, who would you like to thank?
I'd like to thank the Fido dog.
Okay.
And the Taco Bell dog. I'd also like to thank Jared for being here. So that way I didn't have to, just do this show. I wouldn't be able to do this show by myself. Thank you, Jared, for being on here. Oh,
you could do it by yourself.
Yeah, probably. But I mean, I got to make you feel good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But thank you also to Michael. I also want to say thank you to Snow White and 6 of the 7 dwarves, but not, which dwarf are we leaving out? Sleepy?
What's
Sleepy?
Sleepy? Yeah, you could leave him out.
Yeah, okay. All the dwarves. So thank you to Snow White and all of the dwarves except for Sleepy. Thank you to our listeners. Make sure that you subscribe to this podcast on YouTube. Subscribe to the Galaxy channel. That's where you're going to find the podcast. On YouTube, you can also find it on Spotify and every other possible place. If you go to City Hall in Mississauga and you go to the top floor, there's actually going to be a 1965 gramophone playing in order all the different episodes of our podcast. So,
right.
Anything else, Michael?
No, man. I'm glad that you covered the clock tower thing. I just wanted to make sure that was there.
Yeah. We want to make sure people know about that. Okay. Well, we'll see you next week.